to him, and I'm tired of doing it.
At the same time, you want his daughter to continue to see and love him and have a relationship?
Yes, and his daughter is not as happy with my choice right now as she much prefers it the other way. And this is the way I feel about Sonny. And I know this is the way Sonny feels about me. If Sonny ever called me and said, I need you, I would drop everything I was doing and I would go and be with him no matter what I had to do. The day-to-day existence for Sonny and I doesn't really work out. I know that if I needed a friend and it was like the bottom line that I could count on him, but as day-to-day life goes, Sonny still thinks that I am the 16-year-old girl that he found and will absolutely not give me any space to be an adult or disagree with him. It's like living with your father.
Have you attempted to, have you told him that this is how you feel? Does he know that?
Oh, yeah.
I think it's an important observation, or this material about which we speak is important because of the number of mothers who have custody and who really should, at least for the children, make an attempt at a relationship that's communicative.
All right, you know what? This is the way I feel about this. I didn't lie to Chastity, but I never told Chastity anything except the good things about her father until one day she was really angry with me about something. And I turned to her and I said, this and this and this and this, and this is why it's really difficult for me to have a relationship with your father at this time. Not that I don't think he's a good person and not that I don't think he's a good father for you, but for me, it's very difficult for me to be with him.
And she's understood this?
Well, she's quite grown up and very, very mature, and she's also 16 years old.
Yeah. Okay. So you don't want to treat her like a child? Yes.
Cher, I saw you at Westbury Music Fair. You were fantastic.
Thank you.
I watched you mature in Jimmy Dean, and Silkwood. Do you have any insight into the paranoia that most stars have with working with other stars?
Geez, you know, I don't know if it's because I grew up as part of a team, but I much prefer working with people. I was going to do a play called Hurly Burly, and the reason that I didn't do it was because the part they wanted me to play was this, and it was a great part. And the woman came out and basically gave two of the most brilliant monologues in the world, but she really had no relationship with the other people on the stage, or as much as I needed. The best work I ever do, I do with someone.
Yeah.
After you film a movie, do you usually watch it yourself?
That's kind of my least favorite part of doing that kind of work, is to watch it.
Did you not go to a theater incognito to see Silkwood?
Well, I didn't go incognito, but I went.
Well, but you didn't want people to see you for sure, did you? I don't think...
No, I went in after it was
That's what
over. I mean, after it was dark.
And when your name came up, was this a sneak?
Wait a minute, I want to tell you something about this, okay? The first time Billy, my manager, and my sister's husband, we heard that the trailer for Silkwood was going to be playing. That's the little preview that you see. I was so excited. I ran to the theater in the dark. It was a movie starring Tom Cruise was playing. I sat down. It was like a Saturday night, I think, and it came up.
Previews now.
Yes, but I'd never seen the movie and I'd never seen anything. Meryl Streep, big thing. Kurt Russell, big thing. Cher. Everyone in the theater started laughing. I bit a hole in my cheek to stop from crying. Billy was crying, my sister was crying. We were all just torn up. And I remember that my agent said in Chicago, when they had a preview of the movie, when my name came up, everyone laughed. And at the end of the movie, when my name came up, everyone applauded. And I felt, even now, there's so much that I have to do so people will stay with my work long enough to see it.
I wasn't there.
Oh, yes, you were. You were laughing.
I think probably what you heard was surprise. Holy cow, Cher and this with Meryl Streep, oh, come on. Not so much that you're no good as it is, it's just a departure from where you've been. That's what I
think that whatever way sometimes we choose to show our emotions, even if they're not appropriate.
It's truthful underneath. But I don't see you as the most objective witness either to whatever was happening. But your friends
but
who
wait
were
a minute.
with you- all right,
Billy?
I believe you. Okay, all right, okay.
All right.
Now,
But I mean, they
okay,
were
well, when did
laughing.
you get off the mat then, emotionally? I mean, when did,
Well, because then all of a sudden the reviews started coming, and I started having interviews, and people thought much more of what I had done than I thought. I thought I was pleased with it, but I didn't think it was an Academy Award nomination performance. I had 5 minutes of screen time and said 20 words.
I'm pleased to recognize in our audience the young, talented young man who plays your son in Movie Man.
Eric.
Here is Eric Stoltz.
Stand up
would
and
you?
just take a bow.
Eric. Kind of pushy, isn't he? Just,
Yeah.
you know. Yes, ma'am. You should be very proud of your performance in this film. It's, yes.
You said that you felt like you had to make it in the serious role by not selling out and being yourself. And then you just said a few minutes ago that you liked yourself better when you got up and looked at yourself in the mirror, better than the way you are now. Then is that not selling out if you like yourself better? Why don't you be yourself? Katharine Hepburn is herself, and I love her and think she's fabulous.
All right.
So.
What I mean, maybe I can be more explicit. When I was talking, this lady asked me about, do I feel better now that I'm not the glamorous role? I don't wear Bob Mackie gowns and all that. My problem, I think, before was that everyone wanted me to be one self-recognizable always as that one person. I really feel that I am more than one person at any given time, and selling out to me is being an image always and staying that person so that they know what I am. It's like Campbell's soup. They can sell that. Yeah. You know, I no longer have long black hair. I'm not exactly the same person. There are two distinct me's, one with makeup and one without. I like them both, and if I say to you, I didn't come here today, it was my choice. In Silkwood, I had the choice to look different. I didn't. It's being who I am at the time that I am that person and not being just one thing. I don't feel one thing, and so selling out to me is just being one thing and sticking to it.
Yes, you had a question?
Yes, if you could live your life over again, would you make any changes, either professionally or personally?
Geez, that's such an impossible question because, yeah, I'm sure there were a few things that I would do differently, but I think that, you know, you get to be who you are by being who you are. All I know basically is that he had to have some kind of an answer, and I wanted him to know that it wasn't because of him. I would rather have him think that than his father didn't like him specifically because of him. And the truth of the matter was, it's not because of him, it's because of his father's problems, and everyone in that car but Chastity had no relationship with their father.
Yeah, it makes you, though, you know, if you talk enough like this, you don't want to let your daughter out of the house. That's the thing that happens. The males do seem to be going out of their way to walk away from familial responsibility. That's what it looks like. Not all of us, but a whole bunch of us.
The majority of women that I know, this is what I find really interesting. The majority of women that I know didn't know their fathers really well. The ones that I know that did are closer to their fathers now than they are to their mothers. It seems that when a man is a good father, he's a fabulous parent. I know that the best parent I've ever met is Kurt Russell. Mother, father, call it whatever you want to. He is the absolute best parent I've ever known.
Yeah.
Cher, do you believe in the institution of marriage?
Yeah, but who wants to live in an institution?
Yes, but who wants to live in an institution?
Right.
There are folks who might have missed, though. That's pretty fast.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I think that I'm optimistic in feeling that it is certainly a possibility, and yet I don't think that we go into it in the right way, and I don't think that it's any of our faults, really. I was watching your program. I was trying to call in. You had men on one day and you had women on the next day. And I thought, God, I'd give anything to be there if he had them both together. I feel that we make unrealistic demands on each other for total happiness. No one is responsible for your total happiness. I also think that we have somewhere in the back of our minds this father knows best ideal of marriage. We don't live in that society. We don't live. We are consumered and commercialized to death. I don't even know how we've survived in this world as long as we have. I believe that all the values that we're trying to maintain from an older time period are trying to be sold. I mean, we live in this McDonald's kind of world that's just horrendous. How can we have anything meaningful when everything is disposable?
Does Ms. Ferraro's appearance in the Diet Pepsi commercial diminish her candidacy, the first woman in the history of the country and the Republic? Doesn't she have an obligation to remove herself from this kind of commercial concern? On the other side, you say, look, you got to pay the bills. It's legal. What's wrong with this? I see former Senator Baker selling USA Today. Did you notice that? You worked real hard for this ability.
I mean, the biggest sell job in the world is selling the president. I mean, we are sold the president of the United States.
Yeah. Yes.
The outfit that you wore in the commercial for Jacqueline, the pants, was that your doing or was that their doing?
Actually, that was my doing against their will.
Yes. For a moment.
The role that you play in Mask, it seems to be very important to you, and I was wondering if there was a special reason.
It's very important because, first of all, it's a true story, and it so moved me when I read it that I just felt that people should see this and that I wanted to be a part of it.
Yes.
Do you find it hard to do those emotional scenes where you have to do a lot of crying?
Not really, not at all.
Yes, ma'am.
When will the movie be released?
It comes out in New York and Los Angeles and Toronto on March the 8th and everywhere else on March the 22nd.
So many accomplishments. What's next for Cher?
Yeah, what is...
All right. You know what? You're not going to believe this, but like before I walked down here, I said, God, I'll do anything if you just get me through this show. So just getting through this show, you know, I would like to go on to do this kind of work. I really enjoy it. I'd like to do work that I really believe in and that I hope will be entertaining, but also like the way I feel this movie is important.
And I know this audience joins me in thanking Cher for a very...
Producer, I said, you know, I really want to do this movie, and I'm really not sure if I'm ready. If I'd had my choice, I would have waited.
The movie is Mask, and Cher has already received critical acclaim for her portrayal of Rusty Dennis, the mother of a boy deformed by a rare disease.
This is a public junior high school, Miss Dennis. There are special schools with wonderful facilities that might be more appropriate for his needs.
Do you teach algebra and biology and English here?
Of course.
Those are his needs. In black and white, Rusty is pretty black and white. You know, only when I met her did I see all of these little shades of gray, and that kind of enabled me to make you like her. Because otherwise, I think that you could have a tendency to not like her at all, because Rocky was so nice and so sweet, and you really felt for him.
To me, this movie is also about what we really need from a mother, not necessarily cookies and milk and being at every PTA meeting, but a terrific look at ourselves in her eyes.
For me, that's what the whole movie is about. I mean, it's the whole movie from my point of view, from my character, is that you love your children, and sometimes we forget to do this, but what you have to do is give them this feeling that no matter what they do, no matter what happens with them, no matter what, they're fantastic. And it's like my son came in to me the other day. This is a perfect example of this. He said, Mom, you hate me, don't you? And because he had done something, I was really angry. And I said, no, I never hate you. Sometimes I really don't like your behavior, and you're really a pain in my, you know what. But I always love you, and I always think you're fabulous. And I think that's a mother's job.
During the shooting of Mask, Cher and director Peter Bogdanovich disagreed on how her character should be portrayed.
It was very strange, because when we would talk about the character, we both agreed. When it actually came to the filming and how she would do her lines, we had a major breakdown of communications. And I felt if I had such strong feelings, I better go with those instincts, because it would have killed me to have followed someone else's advice and then seen it up on the screen and hated it. I would rather have failed on my own than, and seen it up there and think, okay, you were wrong. And I know that that's probably not the most realistic way to look at it, because it's millions of dollars, but I felt I knew her better than he did.